Strength stacking is a fairly old and fairly effective archetype in Path of Exile. But gone are the days where strength stacking is ruled by barren zombies. Those necromancers seem to have rotted away a bit with time, and of course the continual nerfs. Gone are the days when Brutus Lead Sprinkler is the only weapon that can be used by a strength stacker. While gaining damage per strength is pretty cool, you can get the same thing on any base type due to the existence of synthesis implicits, although it will definitely be harder to make some weapons work than others. In recent leagues, the most popular version of strength stacking was to use replica Alberons, combine it with the Iron Fortress, and combine this with Repentance, and then wear Crown of Eyes. The idea here is, when you stack strength, you get base damage from your replica Alberons. You also get a lot of increased melee physical damage, which you're increasing further by using the Iron Fortress. Then, you're applying that to spell damage, and you're applying spell damage to attacks at 150% of a value, which means your potentially melee, non-physical, i.e. chaos damage, from the replica Alberons scales with the increased damage from your strength, which is honestly a really good combo. The only problem is, you're using unique boots, unique gloves, a unique helmet, and a unique chest piece, which leaves your build fairly limited. Now, in Scourge League with Crangled mods, uniques are a lot less limiting than they were in the past. In fact, I'd argue just because of the existence of Scourge, there's a lot more room to use unique items without it feeling nearly so bad. However, strength stacking also got massive buffs this league. First of all, with masteries, you can now gain 5 strength per allocated mastery, and it's not uncommon for builds to have 10 to 12 masteries, which is 50 to 60 strength. You can also now get damage per strength as an attack mastery, which means your strength scaling is going to be even more effective. You don't just need the damage per strength on your amulet. And the general pathing routes in the tree are better than they've ever been. The other really amazing buff that strength stacking got is you don't have to wear Repentance. Iron Will is now a node on the tree, which means strength's damage bonus can always be applied to spell damage as well. When I saw this, my first thought was, well, I'm going to double dip. I'm going to make a build using Iron Will and Iron Grip. I'll play a projectile attack, and Strength's damage bonus will apply to projectile attack damage, but then it will also apply to spell damage, and I'll get the spell damage to apply to my attack via Crown of Eyes. I then found out that if you're using Crown of Eyes or Battle Mage's Cry, this doesn't work. Strength's damage bonus can only be applied once, so unfortunately you don't get to double dip. Though it's still pretty awesome, because you're still gaining base damage, and you're still gaining increased damage, which means by just stacking strength you're gaining life, and your damage is magically scaling itself. And if any of the gameplay you've seen so far, or the commentary on this build, interests you at all, then be sure to sub to the channel, ring the bell, leave a like, and let me know what sort of bosses you'd like to see me kill, because I am going to be talking more about this build and showcasing it in the near future. And spoiler alert, it's pretty awesome. But back to doing some heavy lifting. What are some of the other items that do heavy lifting in this combo? Well, the amulet slot and belt slot are often a very big part of your damage, because that's where you can get percent increased strength or percent increased attributes. You could either use a Eyes of a Great Wolf, a Cyclopean Coil, or you could use an Influence Rare. This will get you percent attributes or percent strength, which means every point that you get is worth multiplicatively more value. When it comes to Path of Exile and builds, people will often say they're making a build and doing it in a way to be different from other people. And my answer usually is, and usually when I hear this, my answer is, why are you taking extra steps to get to a lower power level than doing it the way everyone else is? If you're going to do something differently, you'll want to do something synergistic. You'll want to find mods that complement each other and work together. A lot of strength stacker builds are played on an occultist, because occultist does have pops, which means you get to clear pretty much for free, and it does work synergistically with chaos damage. It inflicts Wither, which is something that this build surprisingly struggles at, and furthermore, it gives you more chaos damage, along with a slew of defensive bonuses and generic damage scaling from power charge stacking. So occultist is pretty darn synergistic already, but so is Juggernaut. Juggernaut has the node Undeniable. Undeniable gives you flat accuracy, attack speed per accuracy, and gain accuracy equal to twice your strength. It also has a bunch of really nice defensive bonuses, and one trap that I see a lot of occultists fall into is they'll stack health. They'll have 7, 8, or 9,000 health, but they won't have any damage mitigation, so a good solid crit will tear right through them instantly. Juggernaut, on the other hand, has defensive options for days. You get free endurance charges if you've been hit. Your endurance charges are stronger, and they give you additional physical damage reduction along with chaos res. You get unstoppable, which means you can't be stunned, you move faster, and your action speed cannot be slowed below base value, which also means you're immune to all those really annoying delirium effects that slow you to a crawl, or the stupid Scourge map mod that says you have reduced movement speed. It'll slow you down to base, but you won't ever go below that. There's a lot of very powerful synergies in the Juggernaut Ascendancy, and if you're doing something a little more traditional, I'd say a Chieftain also gives really good options. Strength and Fire are kind of going hand in hand. There's even a Fire Mastery for damage per strength, but this isn't a video on how I made a strength stacking Chieftain. This is a video talking a little bit more broadly on the mechanics of strength stacking. I do think Chieftain, Juggernaut, Occultist, and Ascendant all have their own reasons to be played, and all of them have strong synergies. But right now what's really unbeatable is the fact that you can take Iron Will on the tree. You can use Crown of Eyes. You could use Battle Mage's Cry if you don't want to use a unique helmet with limited stats. And you can use the Iron Fortress. When combined with Brutus Lead Sprinkler or Replica Alberons, this causes your strength to double dip. It gives you base damage, and it increases your damage. Normally, damage scaling effects that have incredibly high base damage, such as Archmage or Battle Mage builds, suffer from the fact that they lack increases in damage. After all, if you have 50,000 flat damage, but no increase, you're still only doing 50,000 DPS. Or more if you cast or attack more than once per second. Stat stacking in general is in the strongest place it's been in a long time, but strength stacking in particular feels absolutely obscene. My character's far from mirror tier budget, but I have results that almost feel mirror tier. This is because characters just are stronger than they were last league, but in particular, strength stacking came out well ahead. Of course, this is a rather expensive build, and some cheaper options are using things like Replica Frostbreath, or going with the Brutus Lead Sprinkler version rather than the Replica Alberons. Have you ever played a strength stacking build? And if so, was it any good? I'd love to hear some of the things you've come up with down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. And again, a special thanks to my patrons and YouTube channel members. If you want to support me, you can do so by clicking the links down in the description below or on screen right now. You can also support by making purchases through my Nexus page. Or if you just want to chill and hang out, be sure to join the Discord. Again, links for everything are down in the description below. Thank you, and have a great day.